I'm sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang.
What is going on, beaches? Hello, hello. It's Papa Solio. What up? Hey, what's up, Holly?
You know we stay stunting right up in your face.
What's up, beaches? What's up, beaches?
West Coast gon' have stand up. Put that glass and hands up. Gang, 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 we famed up. Got that change, we bagged up. True love, we stay manned up. Ahem like I'm Weezy, yeah. Rap game just too easy. Drip so sick, I'm queasy. Whoa.
Ah, what's up, beaches? Hello, Los Beaches. Hello, hello. You can check out all the King Darius tracks on SoundCloud.
Walk to the line, good versus evil. God in his prime, always in prime, always on time. Our time to shine. Wifey is fine, I'm doing fine. Glad that you asked. God fill me up, mud in my glass. God clean me up, all that I ask. Wherever you headed there fast. I am ahead, you are in last. Last time I checked, you were all gas. Gas in the whip it up fast. Fast and all furious, I'm starting to spaz. Getting all curious, you put me on blast. Blasting that Darius, kids in the back. Back to the future is black. Black like T'Challa, Wakanda attack. Oh.
Oh, why thank you. Why thank you. Oh, it's so nice. It's so nice of you. It's so nice of you to say these things. So nice for you to say these things about Daddy.
But then you start catching a vibe.
Say my name, say my name.
Yeah.
How swole is it today? Wow. Wouldn't you like to know? Wouldn't you like to know? You dog, you dog. Come one, come all, come sick fucking gains.
Yeah, whoa, East Coast with that gang gang. You know we don't play games, whoa. Hop up on that wagon, oh please just get out the way. You know we stay stunting, right up in your face. We sorry, not sorry, we just stuck up in our ways. West Coast gon' have stand up. Put that glass and hands up. Gang, 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 we famed up. Got that change, we bagged up. True love, we stay manned up. Ahem like I'm Weezy, yeah. Rap game just too easy. Drip so sick, I'm queasy. Whoa. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the
What's up?
Walk to the line, good versus evil. God in his prime, always in prime, always on time. Our time to shine.
Yeah.
I'm doing fine, glad that you asked. God fill me up, mud in my glass. God clean me up, all that I ask. Wherever you headed there fast. I am ahead, you are in last. Last time I checked.
It's Papa Swolio, that's how I roll. I'm Papa fucking Swolio. This is a Lynn. Welcome to the Daily Swole. Testing. Testing. Is this mic on? Testing. Testicles. 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 Welcome everyone to episode 1051 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular swolecast, beercast, broadcast, gangcast, mancast, pimpcast, sleazecast, and slaycast in the realm. Because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. Ooh, we got the little tiny chat on the screen today. Yeah, I'm not sure if I like it tinier. You like it tinier? That's what she said. You like it smaller? I don't know. How do you guys like? Do you guys even like that? I know you don't see that on Instagram, but actually, why don't we take a moment right now to get a little bit of some feedback? Do you like the chat on the screen, period? I think it's nice when you're watching it later, but do you like it smaller? I figured I could fit more in there. It's kind of weird. I kind of like it. I kind of don't care. I think the more the better. The more the better. So welcome, come on in, come one, come all. Instagram, you're not going to see that. We're talking about the YouTube and the Facebook. So thank you everyone for joining me. Just drop your comments below if you're on Facebook or YouTube or Twitch and all that stuff. If you like the chat on the screen, if you like it a little bit smaller, show a little more context. So this is episode 1051. Should you crush yourself? Thanks for watching live on Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitch. And of course, those of you that jam on the podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere that you like to get your ear holes fucked with some amazing knowledge. Pinch your nips on a Saturday. All right, now that we got that out of the way, I hope you're all having an amazing week start. I always say weekend because we talk about weekend, but it is actually the week start. So remember, it is your mentality. It is your approach. It is your psychological framework to treat your weekend, quote unquote, as your week start. I think that's a really hard mind fuck. Have any of you actually tried to do it? The thing is, you can't really treat it 100% like your week start. It's hard because no one else is on the same schedule. No one else is calling Friday, Monday. No one else is calling Saturday, Tuesday. In your mind you can, but unless you just don't care about showing up to appointments and to your obligations, it's going to confuse the fuck out of you if you actually change your whole calendar. But that's why when I write my own programs, I always do day 1, day 2, day 3. I never put it as Monday. I never put it as Tuesday. I know some of you do that, which makes sense if your schedule revolves around that Monday through Sunday. Like if it's Saturday, you're off, or if it's Sunday, that means you're off. Then it makes sense to not make it a day 5 or a day 7. It makes sense to have that as the Saturday, because if you know you're off every Saturday, you want to know when it's Saturday. So I get that. But I'm just fascinated by the psychological approach of changing the framework of how we organize our lives. Because I think if we separate ourselves from the constraints of a schedule, the constraints of a Monday through Sunday, because we as human beings, we created it. We didn't fall into this earth and just have a Monday through Sunday. We created that calendar. We created that calendar for organization. We created that calendar for literally to make sense of a world and a universe that doesn't make sense. We're trying to find order in it. However, we get locked up into thinking that it matters on a 7-day cycle. It really doesn't. Nothing ever stops. It's just a never-ending day, and then a day, and then a day. But I think that would drive people fucking insane. I think that would drive people even more insane if you had nothing, right? It would be like you're in Dragon Ball Z. And everyone ever watched Dragon Ball Z when he's in like the time, what was that called? That fucking, when he's in that time warp, the time loop, he's in that coffin or that space where it bends time and it gets him stronger and shit. I haven't watched that in forever. I can't stop looking at your fan. Like, who installed it like that? I have no fucking idea. With that chain, I don't know. It's just, that's back in the day when they didn't like put things in the wall. I don't know. It's terrible. It's terrible. I never use that fan. I never use the fan. Hyperbolic time. I was laughing. Hyperbolic time chamber. Right. So you lose track of time. Imagine what your life would be like if you didn't have a schedule, right? If you didn't have that framework, if you didn't have that Monday, Tuesday, you didn't know, you just did your life. You just woke up and did things. It's fascinating. However, you can psychologically prepare yourself for the weekend as if it's like, okay, it's the beginning of my week. And I don't think that just because it's the weekend, I don't think because it's the weekend, you should be doing the opposite of fitness. I think if you have the weekend, and let's say you're off on the weekends, you're off on Saturday or Sunday, that's your opportunity to get more shit done. That's the opportunity for you to prepare your meals, to go shopping, to have a longer workout, to do some extra yoga or that's your time to catch up. It's not your time to fall behind. Anytime that you're not training, and not training meaning not doing yoga, not doing active recovery, not lifting weights. Anytime you're not doing those things that's going to move you in the right direction, you are essentially losing time. We're not getting time back. Just something to think about because it's contextual. Just something to think about because today is Saturday and tomorrow is going to be Sunday. Just something to think about. And these are the things that I think about. So as you know, the Daily Swole are my thoughts. We're sharing it. Just opening that up to you. This is something that I think about. And it's hard to get away from it. It's really hard to get away from that Monday through Sunday thing because everything is, you have an appointment, it's on a Tuesday, it's on a Friday, that's how we communicate with one another. So we're all on the same page, so to speak. However, it's all relative. It's all relative. Why can't it be my week start? Why can't it just be day 4? Why can't it just be day 912? Why can't it be day -2? It's like, it's an arbitrary label that we all agree on. Just something interesting, just some philosophical shit to start your Saturday to really fuck your mind up. Make your mind flip over backwards and just confuse everyone. Oh shit, I never thought about it that way. Fuck, now I'm going to look at the calendar weird for the rest of my life. Today's episode, Should You Crush Yourself? Let's talk a little bit of program design. I've gotten some more questions about failure training and training splits. So let's get this party started. What is your current training split? How many days a week are you doing resistance training? Not just training, not doing yoga and active recovery. How many days a week are you lifting weights? Whether it's chest and back, whether it's total body, whether it's arms, whatever your split is, irrelevant. How many days a week are you lifting weights, bands? You're doing resistance training, kettlebells, doesn't matter. How many days a week are you doing that? And I know there's subtle differences. I know there's a lot more movement and certain things involved, blah, blah. What is your training split? How many days a week are you doing resistance training? And we've had this in the conversation the last couple days about volume and frequency, how often you're training and how much you're training. So let's define those for a second for those of you that might not understand the terminology, just so we're all on the same page. Volume means sets times repetition. So essentially, let's call volume, and you can talk about volume over the course of a month. You could talk about volume over the course of a week. You could talk about volume in the course of a workout. Let's talk about volume in the course of, a week or a workout. A volume just means how many reps and how much load are you putting on your body in a workout. So for example, let's say I'm doing 10 reps of every set. 10 reps of every set. If I go to the gym and I do 3 sets or 3 exercises, 3 sets, 10 reps. Another day, I go to the gym and I do 5 exercises, 5 sets, 10 reps. Just from an A and B standpoint, the latter, the second one, is more volume, right? I'm doing more sets. I'm doing more exercise. I'm just doing more sets of the same repetition range, right? So I'm doing 10 reps, but I'm doing a couple more exercises, a few more sets. That's more volume. I'm doing more work in the workout. And when I'm asking this question, I see a lot of people in the comments. 3 days a week, 4, 6, about 4, 5, 6. So everyone here is pretty much, I guess the sweet spot would be about 4 to 5 days a week on average, which is about right, which is about where you should probably be. So if you're 4 to 5 days a week resistance training, when we talk about the volume, let's go into that even further. So you're putting overload on your body 4 to 5, maybe 6 days a week. I don't think you should not be doing 7 days. You shouldn't be lifting. And I know it's going to depend on the person. I'm sure some people do, but you're never going to take any kind of reprieve from overloading your body with resistance. That's dangerous. So let's say 4 to 5 days. Okay. Some of you 3, some of you 6. I get it. 4 to 5, 4.5. You really want to average it out. So we have the volume overall that you're putting on your body every week. And I think you can understand if you're doing 6 days or around there, that's a lot of volume every week. So no matter how you are splitting up your training in between, you're putting your body under a lot of constant overload. So of course it depends. Maybe you're going and doing upper lower body. You're only doing a few sets. You're really not doing that much. then 6 days might be more appropriate. But unless you are recovering really, really well and you're very, very advanced and you're really taking care of yourself, it's very, very easy to do too much to under recover doing 6 days a week because you're just doing so much overall volume. It also factors in what the volume is per body part. And that is why you've heard this kind of like debate over whether or not it's better to do total body workouts or splits like chest and back or chest and tris. You've heard of these different types of training splits. This is what program design is all about. This is a factor. These are acute variables of program design. These are macro and micro variables. So when we discuss the volume, it's not just the volume that you're putting on your body overall. What about the volume per body part? So if you're training 5 days a week, it doesn't mean you're overloading your chest per se. It doesn't mean that you're overloading your quads per se. It might mean that you're doing a little bit, like I mentioned, for total body 6 days a week. It might mean that you're doing upper, lower, and you're not doing so much focused attention on each individual body part. However, if you're doing 6 days a week and you're doing chest by itself 3 days a week and you're doing 20 sets, you're just fucking crushing a specific body part. So it depends on how frequently you're training the body part subsequently. Okay. How many times a week are you doing? How much overload is your chest getting in a week? We have to think about it that way because obviously it can be very different. If you do upper body 3 days a week, maybe you're doing no isolated chest exercises. You're just doing bench for 3 sets on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's not a lot of volume for chest. You're not going to be burning yourself out. You're not going to be destroying yourself. You're also might be limiting your progress. I mean, depending on your goals, your nutrition, what you're trying to accomplish. So you might plateau and kind of be frustrated, whereas you might need to do some more specific training depending on what your goal is. But you can imagine that if you're doing some type of isolated training where you're doing chest and triceps twice a week, obviously that's a full session on less body parts. So the volume can definitely go off the charts with those specific areas, with the chest and with the triceps. So it's not just about how frequently you train. You have to factor in the volume. That is essential. It's not the key. They have to go together. And it's also experience. And this is something that, we talk about in Swolenormous X, those of you that have done the 90-day DASH program, the EVT principle, right? Experience, volume, and time. How much time do you have available to train? What volume are you going to be doing, for your goals? And what's your experience level? Because if you're a beginner, I do not recommend someone segmenting body parts hardcore unless you're part of a progressive program that has that integrated in. Because a lot of you are just going to the gym and doing, okay, I'm not sore here, or I read this online, let me go and do a chest and tricep workout, or I haven't worked out in a couple months, let me go and do some bench. It's not really a designed program. It's not a designed program at all. You're just going to the gym and working out. And that's a difference between working out or exercising and training. Training has a progressive mindset. Training has a specific approach, and that's going to vary. A program could be very loose. A program could be very strict, and you could have every argument in between. It's how you define what a program is. Maybe your program gives you a lot of leeway, and that's fine for you. Okay. And I'm sure you can understand that there are very, very strict programs. There are strict programs for professional bodybuilders, for athletes that are managed down to the final detail. Olympic athletes, it's managed every calorie, everything is just to a T because it requires that, right? MMA, right? Trying to make weight, boxing. There are a lot of things that have specific, real frameworks. And that depends on the person, depends on the coach, depends on the sport, depends on so many things. So none of you are there. None of you are there micromanaging every last thing. You don't have a fucking team. If you have a team of people working on your fitness and managing your fitness, you're probably not watching the Daily Swole. You're probably not. I mean, you might be, which is super cool. But if you have a whole team of people, you got this on lock. So just enjoy the show. So for the rest of us that are designing our own programs and customizing things and paying attention to our body, and we really want to make sure that we're doing the right thing and we're not overdoing it. We're not underdoing it, because that's something that gets not talked about either. Okay, so you're not overtraining, but what about undertraining? What if you're not doing it enough? Hey, I'm not getting results. It could be because you're doing too much. It could also be you're not doing enough. You're not pushing yourself. And my results shit, building muscle, I'm not gonna lie to you. I crushed myself. I was crippling myself at the gym. I was fucking destroying myself. I don't have that inspiration anymore to beat my body up that much. I am more of a proactive, active recovery, maintaining strength, improving strength, mobility, range of motion. I want to be very, very dynamic in multiple planes of motion again. I want to, that's the focus of my training. Because I've done so much overload, I'm not interested in just destroying my body. I don't care about 1 rep maxes. I don't care about putting on 5 pounds of muscle. That's not my main goal, okay? Because I've been there, done that. I'm going through a different phase where I'm really focused on mobility, which is fine. However, that does not mean that everyone's going to be able to go through the same path that I did. Doesn't mean that everyone is going to be able to, gain tons of muscle by biasing all your training towards mobility. Okay. I built a framework in which I'm kind of carving things out. So it's genetics, it's experience, and I've done lifting for years. So those of you that didn't follow me every step of my life, you weren't on my shoulder, you're not going to necessarily know what I was doing. I was lifting heavy. It was like bodybuilding, but I wasn't competing. And I was lifting, I was fucking eating, I was pounding. That's why I know what it takes in order to build muscle naturally. You have to eat so much fucking food, and to do it cleanly, it's so fucking hard, and it takes so fucking long. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. It's relentless, over and over and over and over and over again. It's eating big when you're training. It's eating big when you're not training. It's sleeping. It's making it, a main focus point of your life, if not just at the top of the totem pole. And that's just really what amazing results takes. Now, for some people, of course, genetics, some people can build muscle faster. Some people will have a better physique with seemingly less effort, but we can't choose the cards we were dealt. So you can piss and moan about genetics all you want and make excuses for it, or work your ass off and maximize your genetics. Maximize your genetics. I think that's what's most important. I think we forget, we have this conversation about how genetics factor in. Okay, so what if they do? What if it's all genetics? You're just not going to do anything then? You're just going to play the victim and just pretend, oh, I don't have the genetics, so I'm not going to take care of my health. Because you don't have the genetics of a Mr. Olympia, does that mean you're not going to exercise and practice yoga, meditation, and take care of your health and eat the right food? That doesn't make any sense. You're still going to pursue your health, so why even bother having the conversation? I think it's great for science to keep pursuing that. That will work towards anti-aging. That will affect everyone. But on the micro scale, like, what are we going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Are you going to, if you have tons and tons of fucking money and you want to play with your DNA, then you have that ability. You're probably not watching this either. Okay. So why bother worrying about whether it's genetics or not? You're going to pursue your health. You're going to pursue fitness. You're going to pursue your optimal you, your optimal self. So that is just irregardless of whatever that actual answer is, as we discover more and more about science. Like, we're learning about genetics and DNA. It's fucking fascinating. However, that doesn't really apply to most people because it's not mainstream. It's either super expensive or it's in trial phases, and we don't have all the answers yet. Juliet, I got permanent damage from years of overtraining. I now take painkillers every day. I have chronic pain from what happened. I really hope those painkillers are necessary, because that fucks your body up, my dear. I'm sorry to hear that. Overtraining and under recovering. There's so many, you can really fuck your hormones up. Yeah, painkillers are brutal on the gut and just on your body in general. Like, the sooner you can get off those, the better. Meditation, yoga, using a lot of natural remedies. I'm sure you've probably tried a lot of those things, but I hope you can really wean yourself off that, because that is not going to take you down a good road. So, let's see. Brandon, I had 2 corn dogs from the gas station. Oh. A pre-workout, and I'm ready for whatever feels. Oh, God. You had 2 corn dogs from the gas station? I wouldn't eat anything from a gas station. I would not recommend a corn dog from a gas station. My goodness, bro. I wish your gut the best, and I hope you don't make that decision ever again for the rest of your life. Fuck. Just the thought of a corn dog, period, let alone from a gas station, is kind of a, ugh, ooh, man. You're living on the edge, dude. You're living on the edge. Oh, I would definitely recommend you to try CBD. That's absolutely a better option than the painkillers. You might need a high dose, but it's legal. Schlegal. The gas station near me has good apples. I hope, well, I don't know. I wouldn't buy anything from a gas. I wouldn't buy an apple from a gas station either. I think the only thing that I would ever buy or I have from a gas, well, not the only thing I ever have, maybe a banana. Just maybe a banana. Something that, or an orange, maybe. I don't know. It's just for the pure fact that no one buys things from, I mean, I shouldn't say no one. I mean, but the turnover, how long has that been sitting there? How long? Like the 7-Eleven things where like they just rotate those fake food things on that like fake little like silver grill that just heats them up. Oh God. Oh God. Just mentioning that grossed me out. That grossed me out. Everyone in the comments is like, ew, gross. In London, they're mini supermarkets. They're becoming, gas stations are becoming like supermarkets. They're mini marts now. So it's not as gross as it used to be. But some of them are fucking nasty. Let's see. So in terms of your program design, so if you have program design questions, I mean, should you crush yourself? How crippled should you be after a workout? I don't think you should be that crippled. I think soreness is dramatically, I think you do need to be breaking down the muscle tissue. You need to cause trauma in order to demand your body to repair and to rebuild and to grow. It's important for progressive adaptation, which is what the body will do. The body will adapt over the course of time if it's exposed to similar external forces over and over again. If you put your body in an environment where the weight's increasing or you're stressing, you're doing negatives and you're training regularly and you're eating food and you're providing the right nutrients, your body is going to say, well, I got these nutrients coming in and we're always in the gym fucking lifting these weights and we're breaking down the muscle. Let's repair those a little bit stronger so we can handle that, so we can make it a little bit easier because we're under this stress all the time and this is really a fucking pain in the ass. So your body will actually adapt over time. Okay, we know this. It's called adaptation. So you have to give your body the chance to adapt. You have to give your body the chance to get there. But do you have to be damaging yourself to the point that might actually inhibit growth? Think about a leg workout, and I've had these, and a lot of us have had them where you do too much or you get really amped and you end up not being able to walk for like a week. That affects all your other training. That affects your development. That affects your endocrine system. That affects your body's repair mechanisms, because if you're so traumatically sore, you are so traumatically banged up, if you're so damaged, right? If you're so fucked up that you can barely walk, your body is not necessarily going to have all the resources to repair your chest, your arms, your legs. Your body is going to bias towards the most damaged area, but you can really bomb out your endocrine system by stressing the body too much when cortisol just goes through the roof. And that's a stress hormone. That's a physiological stress hormone based on mental or physical stress. And when those levels of cortisol are elevated for too long, it can cause issues, and it can cause extra fat storage and, challenging weight loss. You can definitely overdo it. So there's two ways to think about it. Are you overtraining or are you under recovering? So you have to balance that and make sure that you're addressing recovery aspects. You're addressing your foam rolling, things like the sauna, whether it's cryotherapy, whether you dabble in that, whether you do your yoga, your meditation, all those things that help balance out stress, and including, if not most importantly, hydration, nutrition, and sleep. We have to focus more on sleep, myself included. Now, for example, I wanted to get up a brand new YouTube video today. I did, but I would have been up super fucking late because I got back in. I would have been up really late editing it. I'm like, you know what? I need to just do it for Sunday. I can't keep, sacrificing my sleep to get them up. I really want to be super consistent and I have so much content, but I need to put my sleep first. I can't be destroying myself because it's not good for my body. And we know that, but sometimes it calls for it. Sometimes you just got to get something done and you have to just get it done and the time constraints, this, that, and the other. However, I'm really making it a promise to myself that I'm not going to sacrifice and cut that short and, you know, and be up like super, super late like I used to be. I really can't. I really can't. And it's really hard. It's really hard for me psychologically to know that, fuck, I could have had this up. But then I would have been exhausted today. And it just piles up. It just piles up. No, I'm not saying you shouldn't do virtual legs in Squat City. What I'm saying is you need to give yourself ample recovery time. So if you're not able to handle that type of a workout and you're going to be sore for like 2 weeks, then maybe you shouldn't be doing it, or you should be modifying it. So you can definitely crush yourself. You can definitely crush your legs and beat yourself up, but that's what the progressive overload is for. If you're doing, let's say you've never worked out before. If you've never worked out before, maybe doing 2 sets per body part, doing a total body workout, you'd be sore as fuck if you push yourself too hard. Even if you did 1 set, if you push yourself too hard, 1 set will destroy you. You'd be super sore if you've never worked out before. If you get used to doing 20 sets, but then you give yourself 4, 5, 6 days recovery between similar workouts, then you might be okay and you can build yourself up from there. So it depends. It depends. But you don't know that line until you cross it, unfortunately. And a lot of us have those hard workouts where afterwards you're thinking, fuck, I wish I didn't do so much. Now I can't walk. So what I tend to do, because I don't want to say I tend to overtrain. In the moment, I tend to push myself so hard, I am really sore and banged up after. Now, I know that, okay, if I stop before I am ready in the gym, so if I don't do that next set, I want to do another set, I'm like, you know what? I would do that normally that extra set, but I'm not going to now, and I go to do another exercise, or I leave the gym earlier where I want to, my instinct tells me, hey, do another set. So I don't, then I'm getting sore, but I'm not getting so overly sore. And I realize, it's a good thing I stopped because I was already doing plenty of damage to the area. So if I'm doing less volume, I'm usually doing more intensity. I'm doing more, strength. I'm loading up more weight. I play around with different things. Like I said, the seasons change and you have to adapt to what your body will respond to now. What my body is responding to now, what I'm consistent with now, what I like doing now is different than when I was 26. It's different than when I was 19. It's a different thing. It's a different beast. I have a lot more experience in the gym. My body and my joints and my muscles have experienced a lot more volume over the course of years. I have different concerns. I have different goals now than I did 10 years ago, right? It's not about getting as big as I fucking can. It's just a different thing. It's a different thing. And that's where the programming comes in. That's where the awareness and the paying attention. But if you don't know these principles, if you don't know that you have the option to play around with how much volume and frequency based on your experience and based on how many days a week you have able to lift, if you don't know that, then you're stuck in this rut like, I have to do a chest and triceps day. No, you don't. I have to do total body. No, you don't. You can mix it up. You can do total body 2 days a week and then do an upper lower. You can do 4 days a week and do push pull on 2 days and then do total body. I mean, you can do different things. You just have to make sure you're adjusting the volume to allow yourself that you're recovering between workouts. So if you're doing total body on Monday and total body on Wednesday, you shouldn't be destroying yourself on Monday for each body part. I mean, you have to make sure that you're not doing probably the same exercise on Wednesday, that you're dispersing it over the body enough on Monday so that 48 hours would be sufficient for you to recover until the next workout. If you're not recovering enough, no matter what the volume is, if you're just doing, let's say you're doing 5 workouts in one day, you're not going to recover enough between each workout. So obviously, no matter what you're doing, it's not enough. It's not enough time. So as long as the time and the rest and the repair matches the volume and the intensity for the body part or the area that you're training, that's what's important. That's what's mostly important. I came out of the vag pumped. I don't know about that. I just came out of the womb, landed on a single leg. Boom. Stable as fuck. Try some grass-fed butter. Grass-fed butter. It's a bomb diggity. Ooh, what are we talking about? A potato? Ooh, sweet potato breakfast. I like sweet potatoes before I train. Do you ever find it looks silly when a guy has, say, giant shoulder muscles when the rest of their body is overweight, giant shoulders and they're overweight. I mean, your body, the human mind or the human eyes will notice when things are out of context, when things are disproportionate, when someone is, has a big upper body and tiny legs. It stands out. We know this automatically. You don't have to be a fitness expert to look at that and be like, oh, that's kind of weird. It's just something that we notice because it's not natural. It's not natural to be that disproportionate. It's natural to have legs and then arms, and okay, the legs are going to be bigger than the arms and blah, blah, blah. It's not normal. It shouldn't be normal from like an evolutionary standpoint to have a huge, massive gut and have like ripped arms or a big upper body and tiny legs, So it's just not a natural human creature type structure. It's just something that happens as a result of focused training, which is a society thing. It's not a natural mammal thing. In nature, if we didn't have anything, we'd be using our legs, upper body, climbing trees, lifting, bending. Everything would be proportionate. Everything would be proportionate, just like any of these native tribes. Like they're not, they don't have a huge legs and tiny upper body and vice versa. They're distributed. Yeah, there are lots of people that are overweight and have muscles. Look, overweight just means you have more body fat than you should. Doesn't mean you don't have muscle underneath it. You have a lot of big fucking powerful guys that have stomachs, right? World's strongest men. They're just so big, and they're not shredded to the bone, but they're just there's so much muscle. There's so much muscle, and they're so fucking strong. The things that they do are insane. It's crazy. It's just crazy how big people can get, right? How big and strong. I don't care what you're taking. It's just amazing what human beings can do when that's what they do. Like I'm training just to fucking lift weird shapes and weird things. And, it's nuts. You're welcome, Scott. Does Papa have any hobbies? What will Papa do for the funds, relaxes? Well, I literally, when I go to the gym, a lot of times, I don't film in the gym because that's like a little bit of my time, but I try to. So, my fucking hobbies, I don't know. My hobbies are pretty much what I like to do. I like to stretch. If I do foam rolling or yoga, it's for me. So I love doing that. I like sitting on the porch. I haven't for a while. Sit on the porch, have like a glass of scotch and a cigar. I like that too, but I don't do it often because I'm usually fucking going from one thing or going to work out or going to do yoga. If I usually have some time, I want to do something physical. So I'm not going to be, but that's rare. That's like, my little thing. I used to do it more often now and again. But I'm so fucking on point all the time for me, on point for me. I just don't, I look at that as like treating myself. And most of the time I don't feel like I deserve a treat. It's like, no, you need to fucking go edit that video. You shouldn't be outside for an hour relaxing. You need to fucking get this video edited for tomorrow. So a lot of times that takes over. That voice takes over and is a lot louder and a lot more convincing than the, hey, just sit back, relax. You deserve it, bro. You deserve it. You deserve it, Papa Swole. No, you fucking don't. You got to work harder. Because while someone else is relaxing, you're fucking doing work. You got to do it. More often than not, if you're making a decision that no one else is making, it's probably the right one. It's just the one that people don't want to make. If you're working and you're like, no, I got to stay home. I got to do this. I want to do it. It's like, oh, I don't go to the gym. Everyone else is going out. It's probably the right choice. People like to take the path of least resistance. So it depends on what you want. Like I've mentioned many times, if you want amazing results, you have to put in amazing effort. Same thing with the gym. It's with anything. Come on. Most of you watching, listening, you have a skill. You have something that you're passionate about, that you're really good at. And what does it take to get that skill? Whether it's martial arts or anything, it takes years and fucking time and just invested, obsessed effort and just doing it, practicing an instrument, painting. A lot of you have one of those talents where you, what do you do? What do you do? Before we close this one out, what do you do? What's your skill? What's something that you are good at now that you've been cultivating over your life? What have you been doing or practicing for years or for months? Like, what are you doing that you're getting better at slowly? What's something that you do, whether it's a hobby or your job or your skill or your talent or your passion? What is something that you do that gets you the incremental progress that you're getting better at slowly? For me, everything that I do is like a slow progress forward, whether it's my business, but it's more like my video editing. It's the podcast, quality content with equipment, learning how to do things and organize structures and frameworks. Like for me, it's mobility, like a couple things I'm focusing on specifically, trying to keep it in between the lines, right? And trying to, create some kind of fucking pattern with some of this shit. Let's see. I'm pretty kick-ass cook and working on crocheting. Good. Respect. Musician. I need earplugs. Okay, interesting. What about you, IG? I know it's delayed a couple. I know it's a couple things. Please do a DWG on Christopher Walken. That dude's sups are. Oh, Walker. Jesus Christ. I was gonna be like a DWG on Christopher Walken. I was gonna be like, wow, DWG. Powerful. I don't know if that was a good Walken impression. I wasn't planning for it. Christopher Walker. I haven't heard of that person. That's a fitness person? Christopher Walker. That's a close one. Christopher Walken. I was like, Christopher Walken selling... I was like, Christopher Walken? Christopher Walken is selling supplements? Christopher Walker is selling supplements? I'm a musician, 16 years, vocalist, bass player. My God, I apologize. Bass player. Bass player. I'm playing bass, just taking a fish and just bam, bam, bam. That would stink. Bass player, guitarist, fucking bass player. Beekeeping as a hobby, side hustle. Nice. What's John Bravo's beef with you? I don't know. I definitely don't have any beef with him. I shared a picture that he posted yesterday. I thought it was funny, but I have nothing personal against him. Not at all. Let's see. I still run once a week, 10 miles. Christopher Walken. I know. Now I want to make like a line of Christopher Walken subs. Now I want to make a line of Christopher Walken subs. Now I wish that Christopher Walken was making subs. He'd be like, pre-workout. This will get you fucking pumped. Like have it like the cowbell pre-workout. Cowbell International. Body surfing, rebuilt cars. Nice. I don't think we've done like an around the horn hobby thing for what the fam is doing. Fighting, gardening, cooking artist. He's selling champagne. Is Christopher Walken selling champagne? Jeez. Everyone's got like an alcohol and stuff. Do it, that'd be kick-ass. Cowbell pumps. This one gives you maximum cowbell. Maximum, just the cowbell level. So every supplement has like a cowbell meter. Just be careful with your knee. Plants. Plants is just like plants. I do plants. Well, nice. Nice. Very good. So all those things. Does raising kids count? No, it's not a hobby. No. Everyone's had that hobby for millions of years. You can't fall back on that being a skill. It's a necessity. It's a responsibility. It's not a hobby. I don't think parents get better at raising kids. It seems like parents are always like really obsessed over their first child and like, don't touch this, don't sit down here. And their second child is like, they're in the other room. You hear like crying and like noises crashing. You're like, they'll be fine. It's like you're better at it. You're just like the second child always just does like wreaks more havoc. That was like my mom, my sister. I remember like for me, when I was little, it was just like I was the first child in the family. And so there was a lot of, hubbub around me. And it was like, making sure that I don't get sick and, feed me all these organic foods when I was little and everything. My mom was really like making sure that nothing happened to me when I was a real baby. And then of course, as I, started, getting like, into school and stuff, you just kind of do whatever. But that's when my sister was born. So my sister, she, the second child, you already know how to raise a child. You know the cries, all the things. You're like, it's just fucking just do whatever. She's fine. She'll be fine. She would just go out and just jump in like the pond and pull out snakes. She's a fucking animal nut. She's like Steve Irwin type shit. And she literally still does that. She does animal like wildlife, raptor rehab and shit. It's insane. What about kettlebells in the shape of cowbells? Now you're talking, Aaron. There you go. There's a business idea. Go do it. Like it. Tattoo artist, musician, all around badass. Very nice. Very nice. Same time you do your music and then you gardening, skating, and being in nature. My only hobby is exercise and TV. Andre, do you ever go to the gym? Did you ever go to the gym practicing technique on lifts? Is that a thing? It's a thing. Do I or did I? I mean, if you go, let's say you're going and people do like Olympic lifting and technique is everything. Of course, like when I first started doing deadlifts, my focus was on the form, but that's where it should be. Learn how to do it right the first time, and then you perpetuate that through your life. Cindy, by the third, they don't give a fuck. I'm the third born. It's like, yeah, whatever. I'm gonna go play on the power lines, Mom. Okay, sweetie. Don't forget your jacket. Don't forget your metal fork. I'm gonna go play in the outlet with the outlet. Don't forget the fork. Let's see. I force my kids outside. No iPads or phones all day. Nice. I agree. Get outside a little bit. I love to paint, white, parkour, self-care. Look at all you talented motherfuckers. Harvesting as much food from the wild as possible. Good man. Good man. I like it. Technique is important in CrossFit too. I said Olympic lifting. CrossFit did not invent Olympic lifting. You better have good technique so you don't get fucking hurt. You need good program design too. You need good technique with everything. You need good technique with running. That's why people get hurt. You need good technique with weightlifting. That's why people get hurt. You need good programming and technique with CrossFit. That's why people get hurt. People get hurt doing everything. But I'm tired of these like ancient techniques that are being like repopularized and repackaged as like, oh my God, a new way. Like kettlebells are so popular now. Kettlebells have been around. Like that's like the first thing that was fucking created by the Russians, like 100 years ago. I forget when the first kettlebell, but kettlebells are it's nothing new. It's nothing new. It's like the most OG fucking way of training. And now it's like the craze. Do you do kettlebells? Do you do kettlebells? It's like that's been around, like club training and using clubs like mace. What do you think people did battle with for thousands of years? So, it's cool that it's popular and stuff, but I mean, I don't know how often you're fucking going to war with a mace these days. Not sure it's the most, but it's fun. It's cool to do that shit. It's definitely fun. It's definitely fun and entertaining. It's when people start thinking that they're going to swing that and then have a physique of someone that is on stage at like a physique competition. Again, people have a dramatic, because you might have been training for years for a physique, and then you get into this other style of training, but you still maintain that physique because you've been training like that for years, your genetics and what your body's been exposed to. And then people that see that person on Instagram, oh my God, they have an amazing physique and they're swinging a mace and I want to swing a mace and get like them. And they don't get the same kind of results. Well, how come I'm not building? Because that person did like bodybuilding type stuff for years and they got into that later on, which is why a lot of people have a body that looks like a fucking physique. And that's why if I do something like that, I'm going to look more like, hey, this guy looks very proportionate. It's because I've been training for proportion my entire life. I've been doing that kind of stuff, like just amateur personal bodybuilding where I'm developing the muscles evenly. So when I do anything else, I still have those muscles. I still have that balance, Of course, if I just ignore that forever, it'll eventually over time maybe diminish or I'll have less proportion depending, but that's why. What is old is new again. It comes around, right? It comes around. It comes around. Bell bottoms will come back. All the styles will come back. Aerial hoop. You're an aerial hoopa. I love to paint, write, parkour stuff. Oh, I did that one already. Nice. Well, fam, remember, you can make sure that you catch up on the Daily Swole. You can subscribe to everything. You can join the Daily Swole Club. Check out memberships. All the details, the blog at swolenormousx.com. Tomorrow, make sure you go drop your comment in the feed. The latest post on the Q&A, I already posted it earlier, so make sure you go and drop your question for tomorrow's open Q&A. So we're going to do a lot of Q tomorrow. So make sure you bring your questions, show up live, and I'll be answering all the questions in the stream, of course. And we'll be just crushing it again for episode 1052. So make sure if you have not yet asked your questions for tomorrow's podcast, make sure you go in the feed and drop your comment below. And I'll be giving you a bunch of links and all that other stuff here on the story as well for the rest of the day. And there's like a day or two. Today's Saturday, so I think 2 days remaining for the Fuck Your Pink Drink mugs, shirts, tanks, all that stuff. So swolenormousapparel.com. Again, that link for apparel is also at swolenormousx.com, or you can just go to Swolenormous Apparel and you can pick up a sticker, you can pick up a mug. There's a black version. It's a new version of the shirt, a new version of the logo. So go check that out if you're interested. A couple days left on that. I believe it ends Tuesday night at 11, so you still got some time. And any other questions, any other concerns, any other things you want to ask, feel free to hit me up, DM, message, and I'll see you all tomorrow for episode 1052 of the Most Muscular Swolecast, Beardcast, Broadcast, Gamecast, Mancast, Pimpcast, Sleazecast, and Slaycast in the realm, because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. Peace, McGee's fam, deuce, Magoose, your boy, Papa Swolio, out.